Have you ever wondered what actually happens on the most recognizable movie sets in Hollywood behind the scenes? Explore the magical world of filmmaking with us as we reveal the mysteries that lie beyond the screen. Have you ever wondered how directors pull off those amazing sequences or how performers fit so naturally into their roles? Come along on an exclusive adventure where we explore the inner workings of the film industry, uncovering the unseen tales, creative techniques, and unwavering dedication that go into creating some of the most memorable moments in cinematic history. Are you prepared to solve the riddles surrounding the most famous movie sets in Hollywood? Selecting the ideal setting for a movie involves many considerations. The budget is typically the first thing studios look at. They want to select a location that can meet their objectives without going over budget. The weather is another crucial element. Places with consistent sunshine and comfortable temperatures are always in great demand. However, a film's success can occasionally depend on its setting. For instance, if the Harry Potter series had been shot in Los Angeles rather than England, it would not have been nearly as successful. The Lord of the Rings trilogy, which was partly shot in New Zealand, is comparable. In both instances, the desirable settings of the films contributed to their success. It simply goes to show that the ideal location for a film shoot isn't usually the most apparent one. Ever pondered what it might be like to work on a film set? We refer to those massive, star-studded shows where the cameras never stop. Now you can stop wondering. We have some crazy behind-the-scenes tales from well-known filming sites. You're going to be very pleased. Enjoy a seat, unwind, and get ready for some rumors about Hollywood. Interstellar. Even if opinions among viewers regarding the film's plot may never truly align, Interstellar is an incredible technological feat. The fact that the team prioritized actual effects, some even going so far as to argue that there was no green screen, makes it even more amazing. Although it might be difficult to accept, there is some truth to that. Viewers were still witnessing something from Earth even when Interstellar ventured into other dimensions. At the end of the movie, Matthew McConaughey's character Cooper falls into a black hole and emerges in a tesseract that connects him to his daughter, Murph. It might surprise viewers to hear that McConaughey is moving around a built-in set while suspended from a harness. Though it would have been quite easy for Nolan to just put his actor in front of a green screen and add computer scenery to fill in the background. Going above and above paid off with an Academy Award for Interstellar's visual effects. The end idea was that audiences couldn't determine if it was practical or CGI. Independence Day. Independence Day's depiction of an alien spacecraft destroying the White House is among the most recognizable scenes from action movies of the 1990s. Although the movie was produced in the early days of computer graphics, director Roland Emmerich did not use any digital tricks when filming the scene. His team spent a week organizing a genuine demolition and constructed a 10 by 5 foot model of the White House. The model was blown apart and 40 explosive charges were detonated when it was time to photograph the scene. The aliens also struck New York City during their assault. Another professionally executed feature in that scenario is the terrifying wall of flames that shot down the streets. To simulate flames rolling toward the screen, a camera was recording downward beneath an erect model of the city. Although there are issues with Independence Day's flawed cinematic logic, the spectacle itself is flawless. The Matrix. Nothing makes a story full of suspenseful moments quite as tight as when the bus needs to jump a 50-foot gap in an unfinished Los Angeles roadway. Since CGI was still in its early stages when Speed was filmed, the crew decided it would be preferable to perform the stunt in real life. Building a ramp was the first stage in providing the vehicle with the required lift. A stunt driver was the only person inside the bus as a safety measure, and he was protected from harm by donning a shock-absorbing harness. It was a bumpy ride when it came time to roll the cameras. The driver crashed the bus on the first take after missing the ramp. At the time, 20th Century Fox was not notified of the incident. Even though the second try was successful, it was nonetheless harmful. Since the crew estimated that the bus would only go 20 feet above the ground, a camera was positioned to record the ground. In fact, the bus crushed that camera and went farther than anyone had predicted. Luckily, everything was captured by a camera located 90 feet away from the action. Famous for being one of the first in Hollywood visual effects, bullet time from The Matrix has been heavily mocked since the film's 1999 release. Though it's probably utilized more for comedy these days, assembling the sequences took a lot of work and planning. A variation of time-slice photography known as bullet time used temporal motion to create a slow-motion shot. To get the desired look, cameras were positioned all around an object and activated a quarter of a second apart. In sharp contrast to the usual 24 frames per second, the frequency of 12,000 frames per second was achieved when the frames were linked together during editing. Even more amazing is how little computer-generated imagery was utilized in the bullet time sequences. The Wachowskis only used digital effects when they had to eliminate every camera in the surrounding area and used a computer to fill in the background. Die Hard. In the Die Hard franchise, Bruce Willis plays John McClane, and director John McTiernan didn't want to make the actor's life any easier while filming the series' groundbreaking first installment. Because a lot of what made the final cut was done for real, viewers may notice that a large portion of the explosive action is remarkably genuine. When convincing CGI wasn't even a possibility, actual demolitions were the only option. There are numerous times in Die Hard when there are explosions and exterior shots of Nakatomi Plaza, including the well-known rooftop sequence. Most of those were detonated using large-scale explosives inside and outside the actual structure. Willis' portrayal gains a whole new depth with this discovery. Even though the actor has never really been in danger, being in that kind of setting is unsettling, which helps him play the character more authentically than he could if digital was used. There's nothing more enjoyable than turning on a fantastic film and removing yourself from the outside world for a few hours. However, much as Christmas's charm faded when you realized Santa wasn't real, the untold stories behind the creation of these beloved movies have the power to completely alter your perception of them. Here are 19 of them. The 1939 film The Wizard of Oz was a terrifying fever dream. In addition to having to wear an uncomfortable costume made of real lion hair for the film Cowardly Lion, Buddy Ebsen, the original Tin Man actor, suffered greatly after breathing in aluminum from the makeup. The heartless studio executives swapped out Ebsen for Jack Haley when his skin became blue and he began to have breathing problems. The visuals for Everything Everywhere All at Once stunned us in 2022, but considering that they were created by newcomers, they are even more amazing. The movie's visual effects were made by a small group of filmmakers who studied the technique in the comfort of their own beds as opposed to engaging an upscale post-production company. Over 80% of the photos were generated by 5 people, and even though they weren't very skilled at CGI, they hardly used it. Zach Stoltz, who had never worked as an effects supervisor on a feature film, led the team. The most well-known behind-the-scenes Wizard of Oz event concerned Wicked Witch of the West actress Margaret Hamilton. Hamilton paid the price when the effects team mishandled a fire act. Her hand skin was also scorched in addition to the horrific burn damage to her face. When she returned to filming, she wore green gloves rather than cosmetics. She needed 6 weeks to heal. Regarded as one of the greatest actors of all time, Marlon Brando's roles take on a new dimension when you realize that while filming, he was reading cue cards. Yes, throughout every scene in movies like The Godfather, Brando would read his lines from a perfectly positioned printout. If it's not damaged, the stunning, well-known cornfield scenes in Interstellar were not produced using computer-generated imagery. For the film, 500 acres of genuine corn were planted at the insistence of director Christopher Nolan, and the producers even made money by selling the grain that they didn't ruin during production. In the 1992 horror movie Candyman, all of the bees were genuine. Yes, this includes the scene in the movie that sticks in your memory the most, Tony Todd spitting bees out of his mouth. The insects were kept from going down the actor's throat by a dental dam. While filming the unsettling sequence, even though the performers frequently occupy the front row, a large number of other gifted people labor behind the scenes. The combined work of these experts, from sound engineers and visual effects specialists to directors, cinematographers, and screenwriters, makes a movie come to life. Gaining an understanding for their positions and the abilities they contribute raises the bar for the craft of filmmaking to a whole new level. Subscribe now to embark on an exclusive cinematic journey, unlocking the secrets of Hollywood's most iconic movie sets.